no permit, no written permit, only permission verbally. And the guy who was in charge of Malibu at the time said I gave them permission, but because it wasn't written in writing, they said, well, if you have the eggs, it's different. Okay.
Oh, start with her.
All right.
So I want to lose some weight, and I kind of always dream of my own thing anyway. But I'm thinking that you haven't gone over the down diet in a long time, and what's a good way to do it? And you kind of alternate, so you're kind of between the down diet and a regular, so that you don't, like, say you want to go 3 days down diet and need a little bit more, and then you alternate.
3 days won't do it. You have to go in at 4 days.
Oh, so tell me the whole sequence of what you would suggest now, or do you have different variations as well? Because I heard you say different things to different people, so.
Yeah. It depends on the individual, how they
So what would you suggest for me
system is
versus
like,
a general down diet, and then maybe for myself, knowing what you suggest?
Well, I usually don't do that personal stuff, but we don't have many people, so I'll do it.
Okay.
First of all, wake in the morning, just make sure you got the poisons out of you, because I know you had medication for years.
Mm-hmm.
So I eat some cheese first, a tablespoon of cheese, and probably only a pea-sized amount of honey with it, and bean-sized amount of butter. Put the butter and the honey together. It's a very small amount. Don't put the honey with the cheese directly. The honey goes with the butter, and then you eat that. So you have about a half a teaspoon of butter and honey mixture, and then have that with a tablespoon, one to 1.5 tablespoons of cheese to absorb the poison.
That much cheese?
Yeah.
That's kind of a
One
large
to one
piece,
half.
isn't it? So first, it's a little cubes.
If you're not going to digest it.
Now, when you do the honey and the honey butter with the cheese, don't you digest some of it?
No, because the honey is so little honey, you're only having a pea-sized amount of honey, and it'll be mixed in the bean-sized amount of butter. So it's going to be reacting with the butter. That's just to keep you from getting constipated.
Oh, okay.
Because you're going to have on this diet weight loss without the egg.
But if you eat that,
within you may have a big problem.
I've already started and I'm not having problems.
But are you losing weight? Because usually you won't lose weight if you're not good at it.
I don't know, because 3 days. And I've lost a couple pounds.
Oh, good. It's worth it.
but that half teaspoon of butter, honey.
I said a quarter teaspoon of butter, 1/8 of a teaspoon of honey.
Right, that's okay.
No, but the thing is, that combination of the butter, honey, if you're going to eat that with the cheese, isn't that going to still...
It won't break it down.
The honey has to react with the cheese.
Okay.
If the honey is in the butter, it's not going to react with the cheese.
Okay. So then that's your first thing you do in the morning.
Yeah. And then about, 15, 20 minutes after that, have a golf ball size of meat. And if you want to make sure you lose the weight and you absorb all of the meat, then pate the meat. The fruit blossoms.
So what about fiddly slice? That won't do enough to really grind it down.
If you don't grind it down, you're going to have to produce a lot of hydrochloric acid. It's going to take your energy away from burning fat. Because all you need once it's pateed is the bacteria to eat the meat.
In your gut?
Yeah.
What if you're kind of acidic? Is there a problem if you're a little acidic when you're doing down diet? You're not doing too much dairy and all that?
No, because you're eating very little. You're not going to get over acidic if you're eating very little. And I think the sport drink is the good thing to drink. Sip on all day long.
Really? What about the honey in there? That won't make it also the down diet, the calories?
Because you're only, just cut the honey down to a tablespoon instead of two or more. And you lower the coconut cream to 1 tablespoon and dairy cream to 1 tablespoon.
I was wondering if you, on the
But you still put the eggs in it.
that's
2 to 3 eggs.
That's one thing I was wondering is, previously the down diet had no dairy. But now to do this, you can have small amounts of dairy throughout the day, because I'm kind of modifying it with what I want to do so that I don't get so stringent, and take the dairy kind of content or keep going.
Well, I've always told people to have a half a cup of milk before
On the
you go to
down diet?
sleep.
On the down diet?
Yeah, it's in the book.
Yeah, it's in the book as far as at the end of the day.
I mean, I also say you can sip milk throughout the day, but just don't drink a lot at one time.
I've always modified it, so I never went on that. I was kind of did a half a milk for kind of. Anyway, so then you do your meat meal.
Then about every, let's say, hour, you have maybe a large marble size. If you don't have the egg, you have a large marble size amount of meat every hour.
You don't get egg. You want to?
If you're doing eggs, have an egg every hour.
Either or.
Well, you need the meat. If you're having a small amount of meat, you need it all day long, a small amount all day long. So you have an egg 1 hour, or every hour and a half. You wait till you're hungry. On the down diet, you wait till you're hungry. Normally, I never wait till I'm hungry.
I was going to say I'm not used to that, so just go ahead and do that though. So what if you're not hungry for 3 hours? It's on me, huh?
Well, you still want to maybe just, 3 hours is okay. You don't go over 5 hours. Gotta be.
And if you're working out on the down diet, is that okay? Just because you're getting like...
That's fine. Just sport drink. Maybe just sip the sport drink. Well, the book is regimented with large, bigger bigger golf ball sizes of meat or meatball sizes of meat 4 to 5 times a day. And you're having juice, But I found that juice makes people too hungry. Sometimes it causes protein deficiency. So I think it's just eggs and meat and a little bit of milk and sport drink is the way to go. But you wait till you're hungry each time.
If you like the juice, then you still do it.
Well, it's going to make you hungrier.
Why does it
But
make
you may need it. You may need the green juice.
Yeah, probably juice and too. I love it.
Why do you?
For a while.
I would just cut it down to 4 ounces at a time.
Why do you
Yeah.
need it? Why do you need the green juice?
Some people may need it because they're over acidic.
I think when I do this, I like doing beef meatballs. I get a little sick. Because the beef gives you the energy to want to down there. If you do like fish or something, it's just can you do all beef?
Meat just the opposite.
Huh?
Red meat makes it
Really?
on the down diet.
Huh. Why is that? It's killing you?
Don't know.
Weird.
It didn't used to be that way.
And you do just beef then? Or do you still suggest?
Oh, I eat mainly beef, except when I'm in Philippines, then I mainly eat fish because I'm right there on the ocean.
Why does green juice
Combine
make you
half and
hungry?
half white and half red, though. No?
Yeah, you can do that.
But you used to be very...
Well, that's for people who are just getting on the diet. People who are doing the diet for a little time. It's better. It is better balance. But my body's pretty clean except for those injections. So I can go on either meat. It's just that if I on a down diet and I eat the red meat, I get stupid.
Now, I'm repulsed by chicken for about a year or two now. That's all I eat before. So I don't know, do you think the quality of chicken, I don't know if it's the quality, but it tastes weird to me. Every chicken I buy, I just think,
Almost all your chickens are fed, all processed.
Yeah, I just don't even want, it feels like I don't my body's supposed to get chicken. So it's okay to do that at this stage, to not have, just maybe have fish, like
Fish.
Why does the green juice make you hungry?
Well, it provides enzymes for digested acids and juices. And then the body looks for food to digest.
So stay on that 4 days minimum, is what you're saying, to lose weight?
You have to stay on 4 days in a row
Mm-hmm.
to be consistent with it. And then you could take 3 days off on something else. But I found you'll gain a lot of it back fast if you only do 3 days.
How much weight can you lose that's okay to do your general weight loss? Oh, you should lose too much weight. You should only lose 1 or 2 pounds a week or blah, blah. So what about on this? Are you okay with trying to accelerate your weight loss? Just keep going? If you want to lose 20 pounds, how long can you just go straight to that on 30 days on the down diet?
Yeah, that's fine.
Just drop it.
That's what I did.
Get rid of it. Yeah, it's not like I'm going to throw it off.
Just get rid of it. Don't worry.
I'm strong enough as much to talk. So you can just go straight to it.
Yep.
But if you feel like you're getting too intense detox, you can go back and eat a little and then
I
kind of
would
go back.
go back onto a regular diet if I didn't feel well.
Within a few days. So how long would it take to lose weight? How much weight did you lose on this in a week? You don't know? You can't
Yeah,
say?
if I can lose probably 8 to 10 pounds a week.
Probably just yeah.
Yeah.
So it kicks out
Other
everything
people
else
don't
out
lose
there in the market.
Other people don't lose it as fast
Why?
because they aren't as healthy as I am.
I don't know the health. So if you have toxic fat, like I know there's cellulite now that came back probably I never saw it before, like you said, it came pushed out to the outside, that's why I know you're here. That doesn't make you sick when you're coming on the down diet. All the toxins are going to get released now, right?
Well, they come to the skin, so you have rashes and hives, pimples and things like that.
So is that how you get rid of the cellulite eventually? Does your down diet just come to the surface?
To get rid of cellulite is old fat that is bound with toxins. And it hardens, it dehydrates because it's very toxic fat, heavy fat. So it hardens and hardens. Then when you get rid of it, the new fats come in and it causes it to swell up again, gradually or quickly. And then you'll see big clumps instead of small ones. That's when the body starts dissolving it. Then it has to pass it to the skin.
Passes the cellulite through the skin?
Right.
Wet? Does it break down into a liquid?
Yes, supposed to.
So in the bath?
That's why you have to have the hot bath.
That's how you get rid of your cellulite.
That's how you get rid of all the waste stuff.
Right.
90% of the waste the lymph system dumps under the skin to be perspired out of the body. 90%.
Yeah, so without the baths, your urine and feces doesn't get rid of very much.
No.
Really.
Very
This
small.
has been the problem all along, not getting it out of your body.
Well, it'll help dump stuff out of the liver, the pancreas, the gallbladder, the spleen, the kidneys.
Bath?
No.
The diet.
Out of the bladder, out of the urine, and then out of the intestinal tract. A lot of toxins just from the intestines can move that way. But normally everything else moves out the skin.
The body fat, the muscle,
Everything
heart.
is supposed to go out the skin, deep through the skin.
That bath is so valuable.
Very.
I
Especially
can't
with
live
all
down
the, hydrogenated vegetable oils and processed food we'll raise on cereals, donuts of the word.
You ate donuts?
Oh God, I was a donut.
He was a pig when he was little.
Yeah.
Did you gain
I
your
used to love those powder cake donuts. And I
Really?
would go through boxes of them.
Oh my God.
And he wasn't born on the parental diet like
No.
some kids.
That's why I was supposed to die at 21. I was very sickly.
Did you gain your weight back after these injections? Now you look pretty good.
Oh, I
Better.
got them now.
Do you have your weight back?
Not quite as
Not
much
quite.
as I want.
Yeah.
Before I left, when was it? I left October 18th. When I left October 18th, I was up to 192 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Now I'm only 182. So I was 10 pounds more when I left last time. But I'm putting it back on.
Yeah, you look great.
I didn't go down as much this time. I rationed my butter and drank more milk than I usually do.
What did you get down to after that injection at your lowest?
I went down to probably 148, 150, way too low. I don't like to go under 165, 170.
How much is a good weight then? I mean, like, you used to usually have 3 sizes in the closet. I probably have
I still have 3
6.
sizes.
Now I have 5 or 6 sizes
Yeah.
in there. That's me off. And that's like, I can't keep buying clothes, you know. I have everything from a 2 to a 12.
Mm-hmm.
So what's it?
Well, when I left, when I was 192 pounds, I had a 36-inch waist. So I've got 34 to 37.
That's not bad though. That seems like a normal variance. So what
And then I've got, 32, which will take me up to 33, and down a little bit.
Oh,
And
right,
then I
there
have
is
those that's 30, and then 30 will take me down to, as little as 29, and up to as high as 32.
Like I can't even get jackets on anymore that I had. I mean, I'm like, I have muscle in my back and my arms, and I don't know if it's muscle or fat. And I'm like, what the hell? I never had that. And so,
Well, the belt size is the size that I really have to have 3.
well, yeah,
On
that's
these,
all
I have 2 different
yeah,
sizes,
see, this has
medium.
never changed. So where's weight? Is that part of getting older? Or is that just part of the diet? When stuff when you need to detox. Like, I mean, I'm gaining weight in my arms, my back.
Well, wherever you have toxins
You
stored.
used to tell me I was too thin up there. I was like, oh, I feel like I don't put my jacket on. And so I'm going, okay, I want to lose this. Is that appropriate? Because, it's like,
If your body can melt the fat.
if you can handle it. And you know that by whether you get really toxic on the down diet. How do you know that the down diet is appropriate then?
Well, you shouldn't have symptoms on the down diet, except for rashes.
Oh, you don't get nauseated or stuff?
Well, if you're eating that little bit of cheese.
You shouldn't, because you are going to dump toxins in your body.
Most of it, if you're taking the hot baths, it's supposed to go out the skin.
Okay, that's the key. Okay. Because see, so many of the detoxes I did before I started the diet were like juice fasting, So you would always get sick the first few days.
I'm
after
never a
that,
juice
right?
faster. I don't tell anybody to juice fast.
Well, I did that before I met you.
Yeah.
So that's how I got. So this is the first time I've ever had to lose weight now.
Well, what happens on a juice fast, you keep getting lower and lower in fat and protein.
You get wasted.
Then when you're hungry, you just start overeating and then right back where you were.
This is helpful. I appreciate it. And how much is it okay to lose 20 or 30 pounds?
You could lose 20, 30 pounds.
And be all right healthy still. Because you're getting rid of the old stuff. So that's fine then. And then you don't have to regain it again. How many times do you tell a person has to go up and down? Every
Well, just in the recipe book, I told everybody to do it every 6 months because a lot of people are paranoid. If they had to wait a long time, they start worrying about it every day. But if they know they lose it every 6 months, then they won't worry about it. But I like to tell people who are confident and don't worry about it, let's stay on for 2.5 years.
It's okay, Carrie.
And then let the body go into a flu and take it off. Don't you force it off.
Wow, that would be fun. Wow.
So I never have to force mine.
Well,
My
it's the
body
first
will
time
go
ever,
into a
really.
detox.
Usually I would naturally go into it. There's a certain point where you're going. So it's okay also just to carry it forever, even if you have the satellite crap?
Absolutely.
Because you're using the back. Okay. Well, I guess I thought the purpose of a down diet was to detox. It's not.
Yeah.
It is.
You're going to have certain fats that bind with certain poisons. Why not move them out of the body? Yeah.
These thin guys here, they don't have to think about this stuff. You know? show, but it'll be the last thing you ever need to do is sit down diet.
Well, when I went
I'm big right here.
when I went back to Asia that last time, I mean, I had rolls.
Did you?
Oh, I had
When
rolls.
was this? I never saw you eat rolls.
Well, you never saw me sitting without a shirt on. I don't go shirtless when I look like that.
Yeah, but you had that washboard belly like about 2 years ago. You took your shirt off at the potluck. Everybody goes,
That's
God.
that's when I'm on my thin
You're all
side.
buff. He's like, takes his shirt
That's
off.
on my thin side, but when I'm on my full side, I'm rolled.
It's amazing you can go up and down like an accordion like that, you know. And most people are thinking of
Yeah,
regular.
you don't look
that's
like
so healthy.
180 now.
I'm 182.
So are you going to do the down diet with me?
Yeah.
Somebody said
You'll be skin and
I
bones
need-
if you go down.
I need to lose at least, 10, 15, I'd say maybe 15 pounds. So I'm 150, I'm thinking,
And how tall are you?
I think I'm 5'5". And I just said, whose bottom is that?
Are you? Did you say 150?
Yeah,
Wow, you're more than me.
I'm 150, and I think I've been having too much, in my formulas, I've been having too much honey.
195.
And I think I need to reduce the honey. But yeah.
Well, she's got
I
an
need to
excuse.
lose
The
at least
medicines
15,
that they
20
cause that.
pounds. It's too. It doesn't
Not her
around
fault.
the waist.
5'5", 140
So
is
it's like yeah, that in the soda pop.
No, I think it's the honey. I've been eating too much honey.
But I mean, still,
You eat a lot of
5'5", you shouldn't be under 140.
Really? So if I'm 5'4", I'm 160 now.
You're 140? I mean, you're 5'4"?
I used to be 120 or 115.
That was too
Yeah, I know, because the guys like it, you know, it's like having a boyfriend or anything. Trying to get us away. So what's a good weight then?
bad. For 5'4", about 135.
Yeah, okay.
How much are you now?
Minimum.
That freaks me out. I thought myself that here Christmas back.
We're about 5'10". What about me?
For a guy, you should be up to almost 200 pounds.
210?
How much are you in?
150.
He's got 50 pounds to go.
But I've never been able to put any weight in my own life.
Yeah, but
What
on,
is
I
it
don't know
about?
why.
yeah, but on this diet,
Are you
everybody.
doing dairy?
But I've been doing this diet for a long time.
Yeah,
but not the way I would tell you.
you'll start putting it
How
on
long you been doing?
by the
Yes,
time.
one day it just goes,
No, when he gets closer to the 6th and
Pardon?
7th year, he'll start putting
yeah,
it
that's what I mean.
on.
At one point, so
Because I never put it on, and all of a sudden it's like I fit that, and I just put it on
I
now.
think he said because you start digesting in that way. It's not really women's
Start
hormones.
digesting better.
It's not really menopause like all the women say. Is it? It's just you start digesting.
Well, that also has a part to play, doesn't it?
Does turning 50 have a part?
Not the 50, just the menopause.
Menopause? None of that does. So why should we women gain weight when they're 50 and they're menopause?
Well, they're on a shit diet.
But your metabolic rate slows down too, right?
No, they just have so many toxins collecting at that age. When you go into menopause, the body
So they
needs to
collect-
detoxify.
So it holds fat.
It's collecting the fat because you're not dumping the poisons. You go keep going into heat flashes to perspire it out, but those heat flashes don't
Is
work
that what
very
that's
much.
for? I think it's not really the hormones fluctuating, it's the toxins being picked
Trying
up.
to get rid of the toxins, get them out the skin.
So the hormones though are going to come lower, right? The estrogen's going to drop.
Well,
so-
that's only,
No.
but you're still building as many, you're making as many, you're just using the bad attached toxins. Because hormones are 60% fat or more, 60 to 80% fat. So your body uses the hormones to bind with the poison. So it isn't, you'll find a lower ratio of them in your blood. That doesn't mean you're not making a lot of them. See, they're cutting off, they find, it's lower in the blood, therefore
Right,
your body's not making the hormones, and it's a lie.
Right, so it's in the fat.
The body's using them. Because now the liver's breaking down, it's not making the fats properly to harness with the toxins, to feed the lymphatic system, to clean the body, so the body starts using its hormones for that purpose.
Why would the body, in my case, put on weight because of the eating the honey?
Well, you're able to digest more food.
I lost you there.
Digest more food.
I'm having more honey to digest more food?
Yeah, it's
Digest
enzymes.
more food with honey.
Honey's enzymes.
No, but I'm saying, why am I putting weight on by eating the honey?
Just what I said. You're digesting more food. You're digesting more fats,
Digestive
everything you put it
enzyme.
on.
Honey's a digestive enzyme. It's helping you digest your other food better.
No, but I'm saying I'm eating extra honey, so I'm putting more weight on.
Not from the honey.
Not from the honey? It's
The
not from the honey?
digestive abilities are
You're
better.
digesting the other foods better because you're eating so much honey.
Oh, I see.
It's an enzyme.
Okay.
Digestive. So you can
So
just
if I
use
eat
that.
if I eat less honey, do you think I'd lose the weight?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Because I
I
don't
tried
feel-
that, it doesn't work.
Okay. So the food that I'm eating, I'm using it more, so therefore I'm putting weight on because of the food. Okay.
Is that why some people stay so thin no matter what they eat?
A lot of people don't digest
They're
their
so
food.
proud of being able to
They-
eat whatever they want.
You mean they're
Just think, if they digested all of that food, they'd be
I
huge.
know, and I'm going, you're so thin and you're eating like the big horse.
so that means that they're passing it out more.
Passing
So you
it
can
through.
pass, you can put, what about,
I
you can pass calories, like a person's taking in 4,000
How
calories.
many people don't digest fat?
So where do the calories go then? Does it store fat, the extra calories? They just,
I remember when I was like a lot leaner.
No, they just pass through. They don't digest the calories.
I remember when I was a lot leaner, I was always going to the bathroom.
yeah, me too. I don't go as much anymore.
I don't go as much anymore.
That's actually very nice to think about gaining
When
weight.
I was a fruitarian vegetarian, I'd go 5 and 6
Yeah, I
times
feel
a
like I was
day.
always in the toilet.
Now I'm trying to diet 1 time a day, sometimes 1 time every 2
Wow,
days.
you're right. I hadn't thought about it. Or just always having a bowel movement too. Is that part of toxicity? People go every hour. No.
If they have diarrhea, that's toxicity. But if they're going every hour, the body's
had
not
diarrhea.
digesting their food. There's
Yeah.
something in their food like a food coloring or a fragrance that goes into a food to make it smell good. Any of those can be highly toxic, cause them to have regular bowel movement several times a day.
Supplements even like that. That's why I was going so often. They're toxic. Huh. So when you start assimilating all of a sudden your food and digesting, is that because the organs are healthier? And your enzymes are up to your food?
Bacteria is high in your intestine.
All the bacteria, any specific bacteria, or just
All of it.
a whole other bacteria?
How does the bacteria get high?
Yeah, how do you increase? So now, why are we having more bacteria?
Because you're not taking all the poisons, and also you're eating the cheese regularly, you're absorbing the poisons so they don't damage the colonies. Bacteria colonies.
In that class, we talked about what all bacteria is.
No, because I didn't understand all of it at that time. And now, of course, when I give a lecture, it's different. I say the cheese will absorb, every hour, every 30 minutes, depending on how toxic the person is. Eat a little piece of cheese, get a strain of it going through to collect the poisons, and that will prevent those toxins from lowering the bacteria levels.
Oh, so the toxins lower the bacteria levels.
They kill bacteria.
Right, and eating the cheese throughout the day raises the bacteria in the gut.
Only because it grabs on the poisons that would kill the colony.
Okay. And what are the poisons specifically?
Depends on what they are. If you're eating processed food, like I said, it could be anything from any additive. It could be coloring, it could be flavoring, it could be a fragrance. that they want to produce in the food, like a lot of the stuff that smells like strawberry.
Oh, I know.
It's not at all strawberry anything. It's actual ester chemical that they made from petroleum.
Wow.
You know, so those kind of things get into the system, get into the tissue, and even if you're not eating them now, they were in your body. When your body throws them off, dissolves the fat that they were harnessed in or encapsulated in, sets them free again. They can poison all the bacteria in the intestine. And if it's really toxic, your body will either vomit or have diarrhea to get rid of it. If you have the cheese going through regularly, small amounts of the cheese going through regularly, it collects those poisons as long as you don't eat the honey directly with the cheese. And as long as it's raw, no salt cheese.
So you suggest everybody to eat small pieces of cheese all the time during the day?
Yeah.
Many times?
Yeah. Now.
So is that what you've got, Lisa?
I've never found
You've got all those little cheeses
I've been
over
all
there?
over the place.
Is it that tiny?
Well, Amos Miller and some of those Amish farmers that have on the product list will actually ship them to you.
How often?
Ship them to me.
Yeah.
Oh, you do it
FedEx. You have to do a FedEx. You can't do a post office.
What do you think of green pasture?
Green pasture oils.
Yeah, butter oil and cod liver oil.
Well, the cod liver, there's only one of their cod liver oils that was good. I worked for them for 2 years to produce
Okay.
that awful, nasty, bitter tasting cod liver oil.
The green
One-
pastures?
Yeah, that's fermented, but has no flavor to it. Those that have flavoring, it's just processed oils that have been distilled and treated with kerosene.
Okay,
You
so
know, so you have to get the stinky, bitter one.
But what's
Okay,
the
so
quality
the,
of the
It's excellent. Green
fermented cod liver oil through green pastures is the one.
Yeah.
And
But if you're eating fish regularly and you're not eating junk food, it's not going to do anything benefit for you. I tested on many, many people on this diet, and there was no advantage to it.
but if you're not eating,
If you're on a shit diet,
Yeah.
it will.
So you don't
Or you're not getting any sunshine.
I took this oil and my head started, shrinking. Like I had such headache and pain in my neck and everything. Is that like allergies?
Cleaning out the brain.
So I should take more.
I wouldn't do it. I'd do it slowly.
But I should keep taking it, but slowly.
No, I just eat the diet and you will normally detox your brain slowly.
Not take any cod liver oil at all.
I wouldn't eat that. As long as you're on the diet. If you're, let's say, 80% on the diet, I wouldn't eat any cod liver unless you're eating something really nasty, like, fried foods.
But if I'm in Canada and there's no sun and nothing, is that
It'll help, yeah. But your milk has a lot of vitamin D in it, and your butter.
But they add it to
Can you get milk up there?
Not raw.
No, raw milk we don't.
Oh, you can't get it at all?
You can't go to a farmer.
I can take my car and go 2 hours in Vermont and come back. It's not that. The quality I had there was not that good.
That's tough.
There was no cream, I think, so I couldn't really.
That is
Well, I have
tough.
this question about milk because I've been trying, and I was going to ask you what would be the symptom that would convince you someone should not drink or eat any dairy or milk.
Well, I suggest that everybody does. People say, well, I have an allergy to it, this and that happens. I say, bear through it. You're not going to get a better source of minerals or a better source of fat for the nervous system unless you're having dairy.
Yeah.
So suffer through it, and then you'll get through it eventually.
Because I get something, especially mentally, it's not working. I get stoned. I lose my memory. I
That's
get
a protein.
depressed.
You're getting a protein deficiency.
No, by drinking milk.
That's a protein. You're getting a protein
Well,
because you're using all the minerals to detox toxins out of the brain. Then you're not eating enough meat or eggs.
No,
You know.
I'm eating this all the raw meat and eggs and all this. But when I take milk, yeah, I'm doing sort of good. But every time I try milk, it's doing that. But I just
How are you taking the milk?
it's warm and I drink it without food. Normally without food, because if I do it with food, it's
You take it at room temperature?
yeah, it's room temperature.
I remember.
And I have another thing in my gut. I have very much discomfort as I'm going to get diarrhea often, and it makes me really like
Then you've got a lot of poisons and you need cheese.
cheese.
If you're eating the cheese regularly, small amount, like a sugar cube size amount, a half a teaspoon every 30 minutes, you'll be able to drink the milk easily.
Mm-hmm.
Right now your body's using all of the minerals in the milk, and then without the minerals you can't digest the fat properly, the cream. Now that can make your brain sluggish.
I remember it took me a few years with the milk, and then all of a sudden, on a few years on the diet, I could just the milk was just life-saving. It was like I wanted it.
No, but I have full craving for it.
Before I couldn't have any.
When I start drinking milk, I can't stop.
Oh.
I have full craving for it, and I can drink the whole pint.
Just
But
eat
that's
the
not
cheese.
doing me any good. That's never doing me
Just
any
eat the
good.
cheese and also eat a little bit of pineapple. Take about a inch and a half section of cube of pineapple 4 times a day.
With the cheese?
What's the name
No.
of these
No.
Amish guys?
Pardon?
The Amish that sell there. I cannot get any unsalted cheese. So what's the
Well,
name
they'll
of this
send
cheese?
it to you in Canada. Just do it FedEx.
What's their name?
I've got a product list. Just
That's with, what's his name, Miller?
Amos Miller.
well, I've
not
got,
Amos.
I've got probably.
What's the guy we get our stuff
Eli
from?
King.
Eli King. He'll send it to you, right?
Well, so will Amos. I mean,
Oh.
there's a lot of.
Oh, the guy that runs the We Want to Live, the We Want to Live website. That's his name.
Oh no,
No.
that's Jim.
No, that's the Pennsylvania Amish farmer. He'll send it to you. What does the pineapple do?
Well, the pineapple helps digestion.
Helps
A lot of
digestion.
also break down toxins.
Yeah,
So
by
when
itself.
people have difficulty with digestive activity, pineapple is very helpful in small amounts.
Just by itself.
Well, no, you could have, maybe a teaspoon of, or a tablespoon of cream, or a teaspoon of butter,
So how
or
much
just
is
by itself, depending on how much milk you're drinking.
how much is too much? Like, what amount of milk would you recommend for someone normal?
Well, if you're having the problems you're having, I would start off with a quart a day. I give up to 2 to 3 quarts a day.
1 quart a day.
1 liter.
But at the time, one time, how much?
Oh no, you just, no more than 4 ounces at a time.
4 ounces, half a cup.
Half a cup at a time.
So if you drink
That
too
would
much
be
milk,
8 half cups.
How long does it take to digest that 4 ounces where you could have 4 more?
About an hour. But if you're doing it every 2 hours, that's
I usually drink 8 ounces when I drink it. With
I
milk.
don't. I only consume 2 ounces at a time.
When I do milkshakes.
But I do 2 ounces every 30 minutes.
Didn't you say somewhere that sipping milk throughout the day has some benefit? And I forget what the benefit was.
Well, it's the same benefit. You digest it better, your body handles it better.
Yeah.
There's no back up, there's no slow down.
Yeah.
So what I do is I sip about ounce and a half, maybe 2 ounces at a time.
Yeah.
And I do that about every 30 minutes.
And what's the benefit of that? What was like
I
specific?
just said, you digest better,
Digestive.
you handle everything better, easier.
Okay.
Nothing backs up and nothing is overloaded.
Yeah. What happens? It's the overload, right? So what happens? I remember in the past, when Joseph and I were talking about milk, and he says every time I drink, the milk, whether it's the 6 ounces or the 8 ounces or more, I get sleepy. So why does it make you sleepy?
Because the cream is very difficult to digest, especially when it's mixed with the other milk.
So you kind of shut down.
Yeah, well, your body just has to spend all of its energy on digestion.
Oh,
I just got sleepy from having a little tiny bit of cheese. Just
You
a
get
minute ago.
sleepy from cheese?
I just had some cheese and I got really sleepy.
That's unusual.
it could be just that time of the day too. You know, the afternoon. The afternoon's that time when you think, you know, especially with this weather, you just want to curl up and go to sleep.
Is it okay to drink milk with food? To have milk with food, or should you have it separate all the time?
If you have milk with food, it should be a very small amount, 2 ounces.
Always separate. It's better to have the milk.
It's better, yes. Yeah.
Because
Even if I drink a meat meal, I have a tablespoon to rinse my mouth with, but I won't touch it for another 20, 30 minutes. Well, I have more.
So drink milkshakes the same way, just 2 ounces at a time?
Yeah, that's always better.
Yeah.
Or, well, you could drink, 2 ounces at a time, let's say every 10, 15 minutes, or every 5 minutes. You do 2 ounces every 5 minutes of a milkshake. Unless you want to take a long time to drink it. If you take an hour to drink it, that's okay. It'd be like 2 ounces, if you have, let's say, a 16-ounce milkshake, then, you know, over a period of, an hour, if you had 2 ounces at a time, that equals 18 ounces.
Yeah, if you drink that all at once, that's way too much.
So then in that hour, you're not...
Yeah, I mean, if you have milkshake all at one time like that,
I
would just go to sleep.
I can have 8 ounces all at one time, but not
So
16.
in that hour, you're sipping that milk or milkshake and nothing else.
Yeah.
I have to go. I have to catch a coaster, but it was really nice.
Okay, nice
Thanks
meeting you.
a lot for you.
Are you walking to the post?
Yeah, I'm walking. Yeah, it's gonna take an hour. So
You want to ride? Are we going to be done in an hour?
no, but he's going to come.
I was saying we're just going to give you a ride. It's a long walk.
Where are you you going all the way to San Diego?
Coast?
Yeah.
But he's going walking all the way to the beach from here. It's a mile and a half.
Are you going to walk to the beach for what?
Oh, the coast to the train there?
Joseph.
Oh, the train.
Joseph lives in La Jolla. To Hillcrest?
I can take you to where you can pick up the first one.
In an hour. What time is the train? An hour?
4:45. I have to be there at 4:30.
Where you live? You live in Hillcrest?
No, I don't live there, but that's west there.
I could take you there. Because I go to La Jolla.
Really? La Jolla. Well, you can drop me in La Jolla. I can take the bus to La Jolla.
That's just, I know that's a really windy street.
Yeah.
That's a long ways to walk.
What?
Because you're up on the hill.
That's right.
How old are you, Ellie?
I'm 35.
Must be
What was your question to Aajonus?
It's about milk.
Oh, it's about milk.
Well, I have many.
Well, take advantage.
Okay. Like when you eat raw meat, what would be a good portion? Normal.
How much to eat at a time?
Yeah,
I usually like a half a pound, cup and a half.
half a pound, that's a lot.
Oh, for me that's a lot.
Okay.
Here's a question.
often feel-
Can I? He was. Didn't you say something about ground up beef not being as because it oxidizes or something?
Well, it depends on how it's ground.
Oh, okay.
If it's ground under high pressure, the fat is homogenized. And then the homogenized fat encapsulates the protein and you don't digest it very well.
Because it's ground.
Huh?
Because it's dry, it's not so. I feel like I digest the ground beef better than the non-grounded.
But if you have it, usually stores will grind it to a high pressure grinder twice,
Oh, but I
2
go
or
to
3 times.
these guys that they do it like us. I think they do it by hand.
It's fine then.
Yeah, but the portion, he said half a pound, but I feel often when I eat meat, it just stays raw meat. It stays on my stomach more than cooked meat,
Yeah.
which I find strange because I should be able to digest it better, faster.
It just means you have no hydrochloric acid in your stomach.
And then,
what do you do to that?
See, when you have cooked meat, it'll just flake off and fall apart and dissolve.
yes, I
in your
digest it
intestines.
really
The
quickly.
raw does not unless you have hydrochloric acid.
How do you get that?
So you have to grind it well. Hydrochloric acid, beets,
Beets?
corn, pineapple.
Yeah, fine. Beets have hydrochloric acid?
They have hydrochloric acid precursor.
Precursor. So
So
pineapple.
does corn.
So eating raw meat won't give me this hydrochloric acid on the long term.
Well, it depends on how toxic your stomach lining is. Sounds like your stomach lining is pretty toxic.
It's pretty dead, I think. Yeah.
So if he eats pineapple with his meat, how much pineapple? I think I
A
could
tiny
eat
little
some.
bit,
Not
otherwise
much.
Not
I
much.
became too inflamed for sure. Pineapple makes me swell, like my mouth becomes all swollen.
Pineapple?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I
my
mean-
tongue becomes...
I used to be like that with
Red.
the
Mine
kids.
even bled once.
You know,
Pineapple.
Pineapple.
Well, you're only supposed to eat a small piece at a time.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
But you buy this big pineapple and you only
that's the
it's,
key.
Yeah, but what you
Feels like
do
so much
is mine will
waste.
last 2 weeks. The way
Really?
you take it like this, you cut it in circles like this, small circles. And then you put it down in a bowl. So it's down in a bowl like this, and it seeps itself, and then stays fine. Well, when you take it out, let's say you've gone 3 days without having any, you take about a 1/16 of an inch slice off, throw it away, then take your slice off of that.
But that's still a lot. If you take a slice
Yeah.
like that, there's still
Yeah.
a lot of pineapple on it.
Oh, that's
Hurts
too
me.
much. It's a small. I'm not saying that thick.
You can put them
I'm
in
saying a
a
little
jar. If
section,
you put them in a
little
big
cube
jar, it
of meat.
preserves it.
Yeah.
Let's say you're taking a slice off. Okay, to get a cube of meat like a cube of pineapple like that, you just take a thin slice about 1/8 of an inch.
Why
And that's
is-
all you eat.
It could be there forever.
Why is raw fish so much easier to digest?
No, if you're doing that 2-3 times a day, even 4 times a day,
That's a good
taking
question.
a little thin slice for digestion.
Why does, what's a good question? Why is raw
Raw
fish
fish so much
easier to
easier.
digest?
Meat's easy to digest too for me.
Really?
It depends upon
You
the
must have a
person.
lot of hydrochloric.
If I eat a lot of fish, I have to eat a tremendous amount. I get so hungry, it just digests so quickly. And
Yeah,
for
you do-
some
you do-
people, it isn't. you
Yeah,
know.
I get hungry quicker on fish for
Yeah, me
sure.
too.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Very hungry. Guess you digest it quicker and easier.
Or if I eat good amount of meat, sometimes I get really hungry just after it, like just after 15 minutes later, as if I need more and more and more. But if I don't eat, 3 hours later, I won't be hungry at all for the same.
Because your
What's that
body's
about?
eating your red blood cells.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Body's eating your red blood cells. Not enough protein, so the body starts eating red blood cells.
But if I
Eating
eat,
itself.
I don't. My body doesn't want meat. He wants red blood cells instead. It's like it's favoring.
Once you start eating the
Technically.
meat, once you start eating your own blood cells, you become too acidic. Meat's repulsive.
Okay.
Oh,
What's
okay.
causing him to eat his own blood
Okay, is that what's happening?
Protein deficiency.
Say that again. There's a protein deficiency.
When you have a protein deficiency, your body starts eating its own red blood cells for the protein.
But why would I have a protein deficiency if I just add a meal? That's
So
You
then
may
how
already be
do
protein
you
deficient.
how do you change the acidity?
Let me finish answering the question
All right.
solidly.
Sorry.
If you're very protein deficient, which I can see you are,
okay.
because your body wants a lot more mass on there, the more muscle, the more fat you can store. Right now, you don't have enough muscle. So when your body gets the meat, it says, oh, I like this, let's have more. But you still have a digestive problem, so you've got a problem there. So you have to work that out. You work that out by having a little honey and a little pineapple to help digestion, okay, of the meats. Once you don't eat anything, then your blood protein level drops to a point where the body says, I have to eat my own red blood cells. That causes a tremendous amount of over-acidity, and then that causes you to lose your appetite, causes anorexia. So if you grind your meat all the way, you're not likely to get hungry right away. If you grind it to a pate. If it's just normally ground, it's likely to be homogenized, and it's not going to digest well, and you're still going to be hungry.
It's not going to digest well because it's been grounded.
When it's ground into a very fine paste, your body doesn't have to use any digestive acids. Only bacteria is needed to infiltrate.
Is that good? That's good.
Bacteria is 90% of digestion.
Okay, so but how do you make it like a fine paste?
Well, what I do is I take the steak and I'll cut it into cubes about inch by inch, put it in my food processor.
Oh, really?
Only food processor only halfway, and then grind that in there until it's a pate.
Oh, well.
And I'll make enough for 2-3 days sometimes. And I'd stuff it in 2-cup jars.
Does it stay okay that way? Better than leaving it whole?
Not the same.
Not the same? Still a lot of work because I do it every day.
Yeah, I do it for 2-3 days.
I think I'll start doing that. I don't have to wash the food processor too much.
Exactly. But it doesn't take much time to clean the food processor. You figure we're getting pretty lazy when we've gone from hours of cooking and scrubbing pots to just a few minutes of cleaning a food processor. This is the height of laziness.
So almost an hour each day washing canning jars?
So, yeah.
Well, that's different.
When he collects his jars,
for a week.
Collects them.
For a week.
Well, that's a day's worth of canning jars. Usually takes me an hour by the time I do
He's
not quite an hour, but
cleaning. I just clean them in hot water and leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe about 30
he
30
does
minutes.
The whole,
30 minutes.
Wash,
to clean how many?
Usually about 18 to 20, along with forks and tops every day, and the food processor, and then the jars that you store your food in, you keep emptying them out so that they're part of the jars too. You know.
I clean as soon as I finish with it. I clean it, get it out of the way.
I can't do that because I'm eating this stuff on the road often where I'm working. So I collect them. I collect them. Then I wash them once a day in your special formula of coconut cream and apple cider vinegar and salt. It cleans much better. And then that way I don't have to get hot water every time I need to do one jar. I get the hot water all at once. It just makes a lot of sense.
Can you
uses a lot less
what you
water.
were saying with Alex is that what happens to how does he get over acidic?
I finished it. I said your blood protein drops to the point where your body has to eat its own red blood cells to get the protein. And that causes over acidity and nausea, which is anorexia.
Oh, I see. And to get rid of the over-acidity and the nausea, he has to...
Vegetable juice, it's helpful for that. Some fruit.
Which fruit?
Any of the fruit.
How?
Alkalinizing substances.
Like eat just fruit by itself or in a mixture with cow cream and coconut?
Any way you want.
Okay. And then when the over-acidity is neutralized with the vegetable juices and fruit, then he slowly gets back into trying to eat the meat pate to build up the system.
Well, if you just have the pineapple, that should do it.
It'll neutralize the acidity.
Neutralize the acidity and keep digesting the meat at the same time.
Is that a good one for lemon?
Not with red meat.
Red meat? Oh.
not with red meat.
You've got the book, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the book it says when you have lemon, it
White meat, fish or chicken.
it's not good with red meat because it yeah.
Pork, is it red or what?
Any four-legged animal is red meat, including pork.
Dog.
Dog, cat.
Rabbit, cat, oh, red meat, rat, yeah. Oh, it's in Thailand. You know, if I catch the big rats, they eat them.
Especially in the country.
Horse rats, yeah.
Why?
Not in the sea.
Yeah, they were. I got a tractor finally to clear out some of the jungle, and uncovered several big rats' nests. You know, big, forest rats. The dogs caught them and they eat them. Not the dogs eat them, but my workers eat them.
Why do they like the rat meat?
Well, when you've got a big rat, it's pretty tasty.
Okay.
And it's a wild rat. It's not a city rat that lives on garbage.
Yeah.
How's going things over there in Thailand? Lots of people into this
Well,
diet and raw milk?
in Thailand, they have a raw meat dish, especially up around Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai. It's a regular thing that they have a raw meat dish. I forgot what it's called. But they have a dish that they eat. It's raw meat.
They're all open to
What
it.
kind of raw milk do you get over there?
Best I can get.
Is
It's
it
not organic.
buffalo or
No,
no
cow.
cow?
Yeah, they imported a lot of cows from New Zealand.
Okay.
New
Who's
Zealand.
got the next
What about this
question?
A1, A2 thing? Is that
Well, I haven't found any in my experiments with people on this diet. I haven't found any difference. But when I'm living just on like 2 or 3 foods, I do notice a difference.
No, for what?
about what's the A1 doing?
A1, I will have less energy from. A2, I'll have more energy.
What's
And mentally, is
A1?
it the same?
What does that mean? I don't know. I don't know what A1 and A2 means. What does that mean?
It's a certain kind of genetic makeup.
What is it?
That builds the milk. There are certain
Type of cow?
chemicals in the milk that are produced in A2 cows that are not produced in A1 cows.
Oh, okay. There's different kind of cows. I think I know what that's all
Well,
about.
it's just because some cows have been crossbred,
Mm-hmm.
and it's caused a problem. Your Jerseys, most of them are A2s.
Which is the problem?
Holsteins are usually A2, A1s.
What is Eli's?
He has both. Amos but they're all moving to A1, A2s.
And what about that organic pastures milk?
That's A1.
So I don't trust Mark as far as I can throw him. There was a few years when he was feeding them organic rice bran. You can't feed organic rice bran because once the bran has been processed and steamed to get it off of the rice, it's processed. And bran is not a complete food. It was turning the milk really bitter because you got...
I remember that.
yeah, remember how bitter that milk was?
Oh, it was awful a couple times.
Because you got gibberellic acid in the bran.
What's that?
Gibberellic acid is an acid. It's a fatty acid. It's an ester in the bran that causes swelling. They use it. They extract it from rice bran to give to grapes and other plants to make them big and swollen. But that causes swelling of the brain, swelling a lot of people's systems. But and it's really bitter and nasty tasting when it isn't, the esters of the fat that are really bitter aren't removed. And usually they remove them. And it's even more toxic because they use kerosene to do that. So when the gibberellic acid in the bran is digested by the cow, it doesn't break down that bitter ester.
And so when you drink organic pastures milk, your brain is being affected?
They don't do it anymore.
Oh.
I came down on Mark pretty hard for it.
So what's the present standards now?
I don't know what he's doing. That's what I say. I don't trust the man. He was saying organic, 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 and he was feeding them non-organic substances for 2 years.
How
That
long
was
does it
way
take?
back in, was it 2003 and 2004?
How long does it take for something like that to go out of an animal's system?
Well, out of the milk, it will
Yeah.
take about 20, 25 days.
You trust Clara Valley?
Pardon?
Clara Valley with the other guys. Clara Valley milk?
Claravale.
Vale.
Claravale. As you can see, I'm drinking out of their bottle, but this is the milk from Pennsylvania, the Amish milk.
Well, they deliver to your house in California from Pennsylvania?
Oh yeah, we have a truck that brings it to us.
There's this co-op in LA.
Which
Co-op means a group of people got together and we're a buying club.
the one in Santa Monica?
Yeah.
Well, not the Rawson.
Not the Rawson.
No, Rawson was closed. We have another one.
Another
the
co-op.
co-op on
Raw healthy food.
Oh no, Co-Opportunity? No.
oh, okay.
No,
But
this
this-
is a private one.
But this is the food, the milk, all the food that's coming from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But is that private? You say it's private? No,
Private.
Oh, okay. People can go there and buy it.
No, you can't go there and buy anything. You have to order online, and then you go pick it up. There's a pickup place.
And there's also the people that are doing this co-op, they're trying to minimize attention so the authorities don't get involved. So if you join them, then it has to be...
You have to be recommended.
You have to be recommended because the word goes out and they could easily get busted. And so there's a lot of precautions being taken. So, things are not.
But there's a delivery down here
Yeah.
on Saturday afternoon.
Every 2 weeks.
Well, what about Northeast?
Northeast what?
Like Vermont or New York State?
Oh no, that's...
You can get it
Those are
directly
different clubs.
from...
There are other clubs up there.
So do you know the clubs that are up in Canada?
I only know the one in Toronto and the one in Edmonton.
Toronto's good enough.
Pardon?
How do you get in touch with these people?
You'd have to email me and I'd have to give you their email.
So you don't trust
Claravale, there's nothing organic about it.
It's nothing
They-
organic.
It's not organic.
No, but you're natural, right?
No, they feed them hay because there's no grass. They don't have big pastures, very small pastures.
It's just that it's a good glass bottle.
Yes.
So he buys the milk, throws it out, and uses the bottle.
No, I drank the milk because I didn't have anything else because no organic pasture. I didn't have anything else. But I drank it, but I keep the bottles. It's a good bottle
It's a
to
good
drink
bottle.
from.
Yeah, it's a good size. It's
I
a
like
quart.
that.
Most of, yeah.
It's small,
Yeah.
The others gets here sometimes. It's easier to suck out of this bottle.
It's your baby ball.
Okay,
Yeah.
who's next?
But the taste was all, even with the
We haven't
rubber,
gotten
the taste
further
was
than-
awful.
Yeah.
Aajonus, having to do with this tenting thing, after I go, the tenting of the house next door, when I come back, I'm to open up all the windows and clear my own house out? No? Don't open the windows at all?
It's not going to get into your house,
It won't.
except you have a basement.
No.
Then you have to.
Then why do I have to?
You have to keep everything closed, though.
Oh, okay.
If
So I don't want.
I would tape around the windows. Put some, like you do when you're painting.
Yeah.
But just put the.
Like especially on the side near the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could put some blue tape there.
The doors.
Why would you put blue, not just the white?
Because the blue doesn't rip off paint, so it's not super sticky.
And the blue will be only used.
And so when I come back, I don't open windows. So I just stay in.
Not if you've had them taped.
Yeah. Okay. Another quick question on clay.
And I would tape the doors on, all the doors on the inside, but the last one you go out, I would tape that one around.
After I go out it?
How serious, in the same question, how serious is termite medication, killing termites? What does it do?
Where they're weak, where they're more close toxic, where they're stored.
So whatever the weakness of the body, it's going to affect that.
If the body decides to throw it there. The body puts it in a non-weak place, then it won't be so bad. And if you have fats there, it's not going to be so bad. But if you put it in a weak place or a place where it's very fat deficient, you're going to have some damage. It'll kill cells, it'll cause more toxicity in the area that can damage every cell every time it outgasses.
When I looked up the cedar oil once, and it seems to me that there was two kinds, one water-based or oil-based. Did you ever see anything like that?
Yeah, there's a water-based one, but
Which one should I be buying?
I would buy the oil-based one. They say the water-based one, well, they say neither has any VOCs in it, volatile organic compound, in any cedar product. However, I tried the water-soluble one, and usually oil is more toxic. There's more compounds in it. But the water-soluble one seemed to give me a headache, and the oil-soluble one did not. And the water-soluble one lasted for weeks. Oil-soluble one, because I think it was absorbed better into the wood, it only lasted about 3 or 4 days.
You mean the odor?
Odor can still be heavy because those are still oil vapor.
So the water one, the vapor lasted a lot longer. Is that what
it was because there was some other chemical in it.
Oh, okay.
And that chemical was not a good chemical.
Yeah, that's what stymied me last time I looked at it. I couldn't figure out which one to buy. I had another quick question on clay. Are you recommending Terramin clay or TerraSilk clay for eating?
Depends upon the individual. If they have a high metabolism and they're an athlete, they should be eating the nutritional, not the silk. If they're very slow, low energy, then the TerraSilk is a little better.
How about Barbara Morgan? She asked me about it, and I didn't have an answer for her.
Barbara Morgan is a high energy person. She should not be having the TerraSilk.
She should have the Terramin.
What's the difference?
One's coarser than the other. The TerraSilk is very fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more expensive too.
So the TerraSilk being fine, it's for people with low energy. How does that...
Slow digestion.
Slow digestion. How does that affect... I'm trying to understand what the difference is.
Well, the people who are slower digesting need a finer molecule to help pull stuff out of the blood and out of the intestines. The people who have a high metabolism where everything is moving fast they need a more coarse one, or else they may absorb some of those fine toxic molecules. Because clay is a rock.
Yeah.
It's not a substance, it's not a food. And it's very toxic if it gets absorbed into the body.
Oh, I see.
Well, that, or if you're a hyperactive person, then you've got a high metabolism.
I mean, the winter for both. Would be both.
Yeah, if you're both, then you could use either.
You know what I am?
Well, you're pretty mellow. I mean, Michael, that guy is high energy.
Oh, he's super high.
So when you're on the low end, then you should be having the silk.
Right.
And the thing is, if you eat the wrong kind and it's absorbing in your body, it's going to be damaging you.
Yeah, it'll be heavy metal toxicity.
So which one should I eat, for example?
But anyway, rock does not digest in the human body. But sometimes, because I tell you to soak it and leave it a long time, you've got bacteria in there that will break it down even farther to just help pull the poisons out faster. But some people who have high metabolism have huge pores in their intestines, and even those things can pass out. It'll never get into a cell, but it can get into the blood, it can get into the neurological fluid and cause complications.
What kind?
It could cause rashes, it could cause nausea, it could cause headaches, loss of appetite, too much hunger, anyway.
I wouldn't say. I mean, I don't think I would be high metabolism.
What's the difference between the rings in the eyes being hot, the high adrenaline, and lower high metabolism? Is there any relationship, or is that exactly what it is?
If you have a lot of activity rings in your eyes, that means you produce a lot of testosterone, estrogen, and adrenaline for physical activity.
I have like 5 to 7 of those.
You've only got 5 to 7. I think I had 11.
Oh, did you? So sometimes I feel energetic, and that's a lot.
I know.
Sometimes I don't. So how does that? Can you actually change?
Oh yeah. Well, no, you won't change. You have that same amount, but sometimes you'll have the energy and the physical ability to be naturally 6 or 7, activity rings.
Or burnout or whatever, you're just lower.
Yeah, so that's a good question. If a person has activity rings, but they're not very robust, or more on the depressed side, like low energy, what does that mean?
It means you were a vegetarian.
Means what?
You were a vegetarian.
Before?
Yeah.
And we're just kind of balancing it out.
No, you fucked up your system.
Oh.
It takes a long time to correct it.
It takes a long time to correct it.
The damage that vegetarianism does to the digestive tract and the whole body is tremendous.
Well, I did basically vegetarianism for 10 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
How could you get vegetarian?
Now it's come out, huh?
Well, no, because I lived in the tropics. I had coconut every day. I had avocados every day. I had a little bit of salad, but
Oh, that makes sense.
But the thing is, it was so hot that and I didn't want to cook anymore. I hated cooking, but that was it. I didn't eat anything else.
Coconut?
I had coconuts every day.
But still not enough protein.
I had
Coconut's only 15% protein.
I had coconuts every day, the jelly kind. I didn't have but I had avocado every day. So that did what to my system?
Well, it damages the whole digestive tract and the whole energy system.
Oh.
You aren't getting enough protein.
Right.
So you don't digest any of your protein, you stop making hydrochloric and bacteria and everything?
They'll stop all that.
So although mentally there's a lot of activity, the body is in the healing process.
Well, cleansing.
Cleansing process. So what do you do to sort of like assist it?
Get high meat, high eggs, rotten meat, rotten eggs.
She won't even take an egg that's not washed.
No, the problem is I'm in the environment where you can't have that because like you'd be thrown
It's in
out.
a jar.
Okay, so high meat and high eggs.
You're living with people?
Yeah.
It's in a jar. You think
Okay.
outside you need to buy to go back in?
No, let me.
It stinks up the whole refrigerator.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a little fridge outside or something.
No, there's no privacy. Okay, so high meat and high eggs will give the body the bacteria again.
It will reintroduce the kinds of bacteria you need.
So how can I lead up to that?
There's no lead up.
There's
You
no
just
lead
have to do the high meat or the high egg.
How do you do the high eggs?
Trying to get out of it.
Take an egg,
Pretty lead up to it.
take a spoon, round it in, and you tap it until you hear the faint cracks, and then you let it sit in a wooden bowl or cardboard carton.
Is it going to be leaking a little bit? No.
Just one end,
Not
right?
cracking it enough to do that.
Just one end, right?
Hair cracks. No, you do the whole thing, all the way around.
Yeah, like the crack in the
Very fine cracks.
Oh, okay.
And
You can't even see them
Okay, so you get
unless you get a magnifying glass.
what?
What happens when you get a cracked egg in that thing? Just eat it.
Yeah. Okay.
And just let it sit
For how
6
long?
weeks.
6 weeks.
Now that makes me nauseous when I open one of those and they're high. I almost throw up just smelling it.
So you have to
Don't
hold
smell
your
it.
nose. You have
Well, I
to.
don't know till I open it. I go,
So you hold your nose, and then you take how much of it?
what makes
How
you
much?
want to?
How much of it do you take?
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
It's tough.
And how much of the high meat do you take?
No, I can handle the high meat and not high egg.
The egg.
Oh, gross.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Every day?
Every day is good. I've got people only eat high meat. I've got one guy who eats 2 pounds of high meat a day.
So it's
He
only
won't
10
eat
days.
anything fresh.
What about if you leave it in your fridge and you don't open it and it's in the jar for a month?
No, you've got to open it to get the
You got to open
bacteria.
it. But if you open it every few days, that would become high?
If you have it out of the refrigerator, it will still keep going even if you don't open it with the non-aerobic bacteria.
If you want the aerobic and...
But you want both.
So open it every day a little bit and grind it?
Well, if it's out of the refrigerator, you open every 2 days. In the refrigerator, every 3 to 4 days.
And
But
it should
in the
be ground.
refrigerator, it takes much longer.
And it should be ground though.
If you want it to go fast and hard, then
Because
ground.
that's easier to eat too a little bit.
Yeah.
Just
That would be
dry.
easier.
You can do that. I used to do that with milk and then just flush it, throw it down.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really taste like, it tastes like sausage.
Yeah. No, I've done high meat, and it was no big. I mean, it was a little bit
High
smelly,
chicken.
but
The high
Oh,
chicken, I do
shit.
that in a smoothie. And it adds the coconut cream and honey and you can't taste it.
When I used to go to the movie theater,
Yeah, I told some of that.
I would take high meat with it. I mean high chicken. And you kind of rank that
First in the
smell.
heart.
Well, the reason I did is because everybody was using these perfumes and colognes
there you go.
with formaldehyde in
Yeah.
it. And I couldn't go into a movie theater anymore. If I wanted to go to a movie theater,
Take that out,
I would
make it-
take my chicken legs.
You know.
And I mean, they would be rank. I'd leave them out the day before. They were already high in the refrigerator. And they would just be so bad.
yeah, people would just.
And
get
I
up
like
and
that
leave.
smell now, I like the smell.
Yeah, this was better.
And I would pull that
That's
out,
the key.
and
That's how
you just
lean into it.
2 rows in front, all the way on the side, and 2 rows in back, clear out. They see me eating the stinky. I mean, well, I was reported one
Yeah,
time.
of course.
Well, you're supposed to buy the stuff that's in the movie theaters now for $6 for a little candy bar.
$5 a pop.
Yeah, I know.
That's how you lean into it or work up to it as you smell it. And then it's,
No, I've done the high red meat.
Yeah, that's
the chicken.
just cut the chicken up in a jar and let the air and everything and then throw it in the smoothie. And you can't taste it at all. That's how I got a lot of high meat.
The chicken.
Because I would just split the
You got the chicken stinky. slimy, and then you put it in milk.
No, I think it's going to be like coconut cream.
You put some coconut cream and honey in the fruit processor. Wouldn't it smell the whole place out?
Kind of.
Yes.
It doesn't work as well, though.
What doesn't work?
It doesn't work as well.
What?
Coconut cream will destroy
Really?
the bacteria.
Well, that's it. Remember,
Destroy the
his book says you just have to have it plain.
Honey will destroy it too,
So
yeah.
then there's no way around it.
Milk, you can wash it down with milk.
You have to eat it as just high meat, and then you rinse your mouth with milk and spit out the milk. But you've got to take meat as it is.
When do you rinse?
No, you can take the milk down with it.
Oh, you can
It's
take the
gonna
milk?
take a little bit slower in digestion.
Do you rinse the chicken because I think it no longer high chicken when it's kind of really stinky?
Well, you're not going to have all the outer bacteria. You're just going to
You
have
want
that
the bacteria.
permeated as far as
But
it's
that's
going
a
to
good way
go.
to work into it, right?
No, my thing is I've got to be in an environment where I don't have people, that's the problem. Okay, what's my question?
They need to make jars that are coated so you can't see inside of them.
No, it's the smell, honey. It's the smell. Okay. My last reading was a year ago, and I detoxed 80%, the other 20% went into the bone marrow. And you said it would come out through the joint as pain and aches, which it has. I haven't been doing the baths because I went to the bathtub. But
You can get 5 to 7 hot water bottles. You put 3 layers of beach towels underneath you for the sweat. Get a down comforter to go over you, and then maybe a silk one right against you, and then you have 5 to 7 hot water bottles. For 4 or 5 hours of heating like that.
Okay.
But I would say wear cotton long johns so you can absorb the poisons in there so they don't stay on the skin.
Yeah. Also, this Ayurvedic guy said if you put sesame oil on your body, it also draws out toxins. But
not in a good way.
No. Yeah.
I mean, if it were pure raw sesame oil, it would be okay, but it still smothers the skin.
Yeah.
Because it's only water-soluble oil. It's not, it's only fat-soluble oil. It's not water-soluble.
Okay. Leg discomfort. When the legs are like really aching and, I remember you saying in the reading that you can take certain things for dryness because you were talking about dryness in the body, and it wasn't too clear. So I'm asking, what's with my condition? The pain is caused from the stiffness, the drying, the heavy metals. How do I?
All of them can cause it.
All can cause what?
All of them can cause that pain. Any one of those can cause that kind of pain.
So then,
you just have to know it's in the joints or it's in the muscles or it's in the connective tissue.
All right. So we've got joints, muscles, connective tissue. Okay. What's the formula?
Well, if it's in the muscles, you can take pineapple or banana with butter.
Pineapple, banana with
banana and butter, pineapple and butter.
Butter. What's the proportion?
That you'll have to experiment with and see.
Start off with how much?
If you're having banana, have about, it has to be medium ripe.
Medium.
Not real green. Not too ripe, non-alcoholic ripe. Have about 3.5 inches of banana. And about, you could have a tablespoon of cheese and a tablespoon of butter.
With the pineapple?
Yeah. No, with the banana.
Oh, so with the banana, yeah. Okay.
And with the pineapple, I would make it 2 tablespoons of cheese and 1 tablespoon of butter.
How much pineapple?
Oh, about a half a cup.
And that's for the muscle. Okay, what about the joints?
That would be a constant pain, not just cramping. So
Yep.
what are you talking about?
Yeah, constant pain.
Bone marrow,
How much?
and let's say about 2 ounces of bone marrow.
Throughout the day?
No,
Or all at once?
you're always trying to second guess what I'm going to say.
Sorry.
Stop and listen.
Sorry.
Okay. So 2 ounces of bone marrow with about 2 ounces of butter and about a teaspoon of pineapple juice. You just squeeze, take a chunk of pineapple and squeeze so you have a tablespoon of juice in that.
Tablespoon?
Tablespoon of pineapple juice. And if it's real bad, you can also take, while you're eating that, take a slice of meat and put it over that joint, very thin, and then cover that with a moist gauze, and cover that with a piece of plastic, and then put an ace bandage around it, and you put a hot water bottle or 2 next to that joint at night and sleep.
Connective tissue?
That's hot baths and whey. Also any of the sport drinks.
So how does the sport drink work to, its benefit? What is it about the sport drink that makes it?
Depends on what you use in it.
Okay. So
That's
there's
all.
different...
I would spend probably 45 minutes explaining that.
What drinks
Pardon?
Yeah.
Really? So the one you gave us last time, is that just a standard?
No, I'm saying it depends on what you use in it and the different combinations.
Yeah, see, because the combinations, there's the standard, which is just the tomato, cucumber, and all the other stuff. That's the standard. Then there's the other one is
With the whey.
watermelon and cucumber.
And tomato, that's what I mean. You can use any,
Okay.
so you can have all like 8 combinations or more.
So is the sport drink for dryness or?
It's for a lot of things.
Well, give us a few things about sports drink.
Well, it helps rehydrate the body because you can absorb 100% of the H2O in all different types of tissue if tomato and the cucumber are together. Mm-hmm. If you have watermelon, it's going to have a tendency to cleanse and hydrate the intestines more and the mucous membrane and the connective tissue. If you have whey and cucumber, it's likely to be mostly joints and connective tissue. And it will clear lactic acid from the muscles.
It does what from the muscles?
Lactic acid.
Lactic acid. And what?
The byproduct of metabolism. Waste product of metabolism.
And what was the formula for the lactic acid? The whey and the...
Whey and cucumber. Whey and tomato would be joints also. Also nerves.
With all the other stuff too, or just those 2 items? Or with all of them?
No, with
These are
those
the
2.
different ones,
Just those
right?
2?
Let's say you add 2 cups of tomato, 1 cup of whey, or 1/2 cup of tomato and 1/2 cup of whey.
So the more you add, if you use general, and shouldn't you get all the effects, or no, it changes the property?
It does, but it's just one will be more, work more in a particular area.
Yeah.
What is special about the whey? Because this must be something special about it, because it's in these sports drinks.
Well, it's a tendency to turn vinegar and will be more cleansing, can help dissolve, mineral buildups that can help dissolve lactic acid buildups, crystallizations.
What if you don't want it in there, is that okay?
Pardon?
What if you don't want it in there?
Don't use it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
They're going to feel...
Like I said, you can use 4 different things. You don't have to have whey at all.
Sometimes
You have watermelon,
like
tomato, and cucumber. You could have cucumber and tomato. You could have watermelon and tomato. You could have watermelon
I
and
look at my
cucumber.
cravings a lot, so it's like sometimes if a food repulses you, that possibly it's not really that appropriate for you. Like I could just kind of like go, oh no, yes, you know what I mean when you crave food.
Yeah.
So is that a normal instinct to pick the right thing, or?
Well, maybe something that you know is going to detox you too fast.
Yeah, because just the smell of it or taste of it makes you feel sick.
Then you need to put something in it that counteracts that. And that's usually what the vinegar does. Vinegar will counteract any of that problem.
How do you mean? What does that mean? Vinegar counteracts the detoxing?
No. It helps take care of the detoxing so it isn't extreme. It will help neutralize those poisons to the point where they don't make you so ill.
Oh, so all the...
Nausea is almost always the process of something going into the stomach, whether you're eating it or whether it's coming from the body, dumping into the stomach. The body forms hydrochloric acid to neutralize those poisons. If those are not neutralized, you have to vomit them. If you have something in there to help neutralize that besides hydrochloric acid, vinegar helps.
So whatever combination you have in the sports drink, when you add a little bit of apple cider vinegar to it, it just assists the...
That's why I always have vinegar in there. Depending upon the person, sometimes I'll recommend people have 2 tablespoons. But most always it's just 1 tablespoon of vinegar. And that dispersed through the whole quart is even and enough to take care of it. However, most of the time I say if you have cheese, you have nausea, you eat cheese to absorb the poisons. Don't worry about neutralizing, absorb them. So be sure they don't get recycled.
So if you're going to have the cheese, then you don't need the vinegar?
Right.
If you have the cheese and you still put the vinegar in what?
Probably get nausea just from that.
Okay.
What's the difference between eating tomatoes and cucumbers by themselves and finding? Is there much difference?
Oh, there's a huge difference.
It's like sometimes I'll want them to eat them, and other times I want to drink them.
Okay.
So when you get to that point where you know what you want, does that mean you know what you're doing to some extent with your body?
Well,
or
if you get the results you want, yes. If you're not getting the results you want, then no.
Well, I don't always know what I'm doing. I just know the body wants it, and it feels good after I eat it.
That's why I say you got to read the book.
Sometimes you don't know why you're craving food, though.
So,
well, I talk about all those things in the book.
Yeah, you do. It's like it's telling you what those foods are, but sometimes you just go, hey, I don't want to figure it out. I just want to eat this, and then you eat it. So it could be doing 20 different things to your body.
So what does eating the cucumbers and eating the tomatoes as compared to blending them?
Yeah,
well, when you blend them together, you've got a formula that will disperse evenly all over and do the same thing.
Is that better?
When you're eating them, yes, it is. When you're eating them separately, you're going to have isolated things getting certain areas.
Well, what if you want to chew? Sometimes I do cucumbers, if I want to chew, and it's like,
because you want to just
That's
chew.
fine, but I'm saying you're still not going to get the effect of the cucumber and the tomato unless they're blended
I
together.
guess I was asking, is there a reason you want to chew? Is there something nutritional?
Get rid of your
reason that
aggressions.
the body wants to
Well,
fight?
you might have, a lot of,
Yeah, 'cause I want
let's
to-
say, dental anesthesia in here. Sometimes the body needs to get it out of the salivary glands by chewing.
Is there another reason you want to chew? Just aggression or energy or enzymes? No, that's all.
Aggression.
Well, you get a lot of bacteria. You get more, the more you chew, the more bacteria you're going to get into your food. You also get more toxins that are discharging from the brain out the salivary gland.
How do you get more bacteria when you chew?
Something
We have more
noticed.
bacteria in our mouths than dogs and cats.
I know,
Pumps it
but
out.
how do you get bacteria by chewing?
Your bacteria is in your
In your
part
mouth.
of your salivary
Oh,
gland.
And so when you're chewing, you're getting rid of toxins from your brain when you're chewing.
Yeah, sometimes.
That's what I was thinking, of some kind of detox or something. It wasn't like you were eating something, it wasn't the stress.
If you're doing that, you better eat, some good fats while you're chewing that
I
much.
should put it
But what I tell people to do if they have that kind of impulse, you do some oil pulling, take some coconut oil and, swish it around in the mouth and chew and, keep it in there and spit it out after about 10, 15 minutes. And then go ahead and chew all you want.
Oh, you put coconut cream,
Coconut oil.
coconut oil, and you're chewing it,
Right. Keep it in your mouth, keep working until you pull all the stuff out.
and then you put it
Takes
in.
about 10, 15 minutes.
You're chewing.
Now, what
All that's loose. Then if you go 12 hours, your gums may have filled up again.
So if you put coconut
So,
oil
what
in, and
does
you
that oil pulling do? It pulls what out?
The chemicals out of your gums and salivary
Oh,
gland
okay, I got it.
and
So-
tongue.
So you got the coconut oil and you kind of just swishing it around, or you kind of like also doing the chewing motion.
All of it.
Forcing it through your teeth.
10 minutes.
Forcing it
Get
through
it out.
10, 15 minutes.
That's a
Look at
good.
your brain too. If you look at your brain sinus, what kind of food you put in your mouth when you get this area? The sinus, brain, did you talk to someone you're bringing there? The
Part
oil?
of that, yeah, by pulling, oil pulling, we'll do that.
So when you do the nut formula and you say brain detox, where's that? Is it binding to it? Because the nut formula is kind of...
I said if you have it too often,
Oh, then it detoxes.
yeah, it can cause a brain detox. Otherwise, the nut formula just grabs excess hormone
So is it a good thing
and
to
some
detox?
poisons.
Oh.
Is it a good thing to detox the brain with the nut formula?
I don't think so.
Yeah. What is a good brain detox? I feel like I need one though for now.
Putting hot water bottles at your
Or like
head.
under the pressure, like you lay down.
Cilantro.
So when you put your head in a different direction, you have the hot, does it cool it differently?
It starts
than
melting.
bath?
Oh, doesn't matter. I mean, it will get down to your glands here where the glands are supposed to take care of your
Oh, okay.
lymph glands.
If I get headaches, I know that it's like if I put my head down a certain way and it feels like it pulls it out.
Well, it drains down into your neck better where all the lymph glands are. When you have your head back like this, there's a tendency to
Yeah.
sit back here.
I like this, put
Yeah.
a hot water bottle like this. And the only position it works in, so I always thought, what does that mean? You need to put your head down.
That means it's coming out of your gums and salivary gland,
It's draining.
draining down
And that's where
into
your
the
body
mouth.
works, it's draining. Because it can't drain through the skull very well, right?
Can't drain through the skull. It has to go down the neck into the glands, lymphatic glands, in the neck.
So is hanging inverted bad for you then?
Pardon?
Is it hanging? You know, yoga they say hanging inverted, so is that kind of bad for you in a way?
No, you don't do it that long. That'll just fill more blood up into the brain. Because your brain's not used to it.
So it's a beneficial thing to keep trying to pump up blood up and up.
Well, if you've got any kind of
shrunken passages like the ganglia or axons, then going upside down will stretch them, so that they can flow better.
So I'm not quite sure if I've finished the question. Dryness in the legs, is that what can also cause pain?
Yeah, if you have no fat.
I've got plenty of fat on the legs now.
No, you still not have enough in the tissues.
Oh, in the tissues.
Yeah, actually inside the veins or arteries.
So if there's old stuff that needs to come out and new stuff can't go in there,
the moisturizing formula.
Yeah.
Best thing for that.
The legs, or for just dryness.
It's for dryness. Yeah.
Just for dryness. So,
what time is it?
5?
5?
4:46.
Oh, okay.
Are you done? I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have this cold hands and feet all the time. Do you have any
severe mineral deficiency?
Minerals?
For about 3 or 4 days, eat about a pound of cheese a day with about a half a cup of honey.
Half a cup of honey and cheese?
Half a cup of honey with a pound of cheese. Half a pound of cheese. 8 ounce by weight of cheese. So a block like this of cheese with a half a cup of honey. You mash them together, or you do that 3-4 days in a row.
Just once a day? Or I
Once
eat
a
all
day.
my meals like that?
Well, no, you could have it throughout the day. Not have it all at one time.
Oh, not all at one time?
You don't have to have it all at one time.
you're going to have 8 ounces throughout the day with the half a cup of cheese, and that's to mineral.
Half a cup of honey.
Sorry. Mineral deficiency.
I have cold feet too, especially in bed at night. Unless I wear socks, I'm okay. So I need to do the same thing too?
Yeah.
And that solved the problem for a long time.
Well, they solve it for 3 or 4 weeks.
All right.
To do that formula 3 to 4 days in a row.
What's
3 or 4 days.
Is that honey?
Yeah, I was going to ask about this, honey.
If that happens to me, I only have to eat it one day. But I used to have to do it 2, 3, 4 days. Usually 3 days. Then it went down to 2 days. Now it's 1 day.
What happens if the cheese is salted? Like screwing it
If
up?
it's salted, won't work.
Stay away from
It
it.
won't work, so it won't work anyway. And I'm not getting any cheese.
Now remember, you're going to get this co-op. Go to the co-op in Toronto, or get it straight from Pennsylvania. You have no idea how it's important to get to the right.
Because clover honey crystallizes into white.
Is that okay?
Yeah. I've got a half a gallon of it.
I like it because it's thicker, and you know how it's hard to kind of eat the runny one? You can just eat this, like a chocolate or something, you know? So I'm really big in it because I don't like to eat that runny honey.
Well, what
Joseph
Joseph just found out that the Pacific honey's been sugar-fed.
For how long?
Syrup. No, just this season.
Just the season.
So the new batch coming out.
Oh, well, good, because I got this, so I'm safe now. See,
I
spirit works for me.
When I heard he was going to use syrup, I bought 4 gallons of honey.
What's syrup?
Buy 4 gallons.
Because the next year I'm not going to be able to buy any.
What's the syrup that he was giving you?
Corn syrup.
Corn syrup.
Corn syrup. That's what they give those bees when they don't have their honey.
And how long does that stay in the hive?
5 generations of bees. So for that whole year,
The whole year.
it's going to be contaminated.
The whole year.
Yeah.
So if you eat that honey that's come from the corn, the syrup bees, how does it affect you?
I have about
Different ways. Depends upon the individual.
Like what kind of things?
Well, it can make the pancreas and the cells weak in general.
getting lucky, you know?
because it spreads the toxicity
So
throughout.
that's what I've been feeling. I've been feeling something with the honey for a long time. And I could feel it in the pancreas area. What was that? What's that been doing?
Well, if you feel it, if there's no syrup fed to those bees. See, this is only the second time he's ever done it.
Yeah.
And
this is Poto, John Poto?
Yeah, John Poto.
This is the Pacific honey.
Pacific, yeah.
Yeah.
Normally good honey?
Is wonderful honey.
Is that why you bought a whole bunch before this other stuff?
Before the new batch comes out, I'm not buying any of the new batch.
The new batch is going to be sugar fed?
Yeah, syrup, corn syrup.
So what's it doing to my pancreas?
And you mean he's not...
But you haven't had any of the bad stuff.
Yes, I have.
When?
I've been having it the last few months.
Good.
I told you it's going to be the next batch that comes this spring.
He's going to be feeding him the next batch.
He's fed them all the way starting in December, November.
He's been feeding them.
But the honey we have now is all from last year.
Oh, I see.
So it doesn't have anything to do with your sensation.
Well, Aajonus, how does that become sage honey if he's doing that?
No, they feed the bees that because they have no honey to eat.
It's a location.
But are they still coming off of sage? Are they still feeding off of
There's
sage?
going to be very little sage this year because there's been no rain.
Okay, so
Unless this rain,
so he's not going to have sage honey.
not going to have much sage. Honey.
So what's this stuff going to be?
What's a better
I mean,
one
the
to
sugar
choose?
fed. What is it?
No,
Is it wildflower?
syrup-
What are they going to
syrup
call
fed.
it?
Whatever else he has,
So can I ask?
Wildflower.
whatever kind of honey he has.
Where's this clover honey coming from?
I don't think that's from here. I think that's from Oregon or something.
I think, yeah.
Okay.
We're going to farm.
Can I ask the question? When's the honey going to be affected? Like when did he start feeding him? With the
Start feeding them in like mid-November.
Mid-November, and then till when?
He'll feed them up until, well, the flowers are starting to come out now, so the bees will stop eating the syrup and eating the nectar.
Oh, okay. And then it'll affect the hive.
But that'll still, all the bees that were, the bees live, 60 days, okay? So the bees will die off, that generation will affect so it'll take 5 generations from now, so that means next year.
Okay, next December. That's 2013.
Won't be there.
No, 2012, December 2012, the bees will be okay again.
December.
If he doesn't feed them any syrup, then by spring, all that honey he starts collecting in the spring will be okay.
Okay. So what's the next best honey?
There isn't any, so that's why I
So
got
all our
4
food's
gallons.
going down the
This one's
drain.
pretty good then, because it's not necessarily from him.
I don't know who's that.
It's from the Maryland's list on the internet with raw healthy food. She's over there.
I don't know, I have to check
So
on it.
Maryland's getting it from the Pacific guy.
This is the Pacific.
No, but the jars that she gets now from
Except for that
Pacific.
The one with something different.
So the honey that's coming from November of last year is coming from the syrup bees.
There's no honey in November.
Not yet. Okay.
Stop asking.
Okay. So the honey's going to be safe until this November.
No.
No.
All the honey that was brought in until, what was it, September when the flowers stopped blossoming. Late September, all the honey collected from last year is okay.
Okay.
But they've run out now. There's no more, I've been told.
Okay, that's why I bought 4 gallons in November.
No
I had
So the honey
Maryland buy them for me.
So the honey you got yesterday
was okay.
is okay. So the honey we order next.
If you order sage, you're not going to get sage because they don't have any.
Oh, they don't have any more. You got the last one.
No, I got 2 gallons
Well,
of sage.
I ordered sage and I got wildflower this last time. There's
Yesterday.
no
No more
sage.
sage from last year.
So is the wildflower syrup fed?
The wallflower's probably okay too, isn't it?
Well, up until this new batch, they'll start collecting it in late May.
Okay, so to get honey
Anything you get now
is
will
safe.
be okay. Anything after May is not going to be good.
All right. Okay, then I can give it a jar.
Our food's getting tougher and tougher, isn't it?
Oh, terrible. That's why I'm getting my own farms together. That's why I wanted them to get that farm up there, 6 Springs.
I was willing to put in $100,000 to it.
How much did they need?
What happened with that farm?
No, they were 100,000 away or something like that. That's all.
What happened?
But Lucky decided he didn't want to put his 50,000 up anymore, and that took it out of escrow. But then Maryland should have come in with somebody else with the 50,000 to hold it.
Yeah, it seems. I lost my interest in
What?
that.
And it was like it was gone the next day.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's gone.
The next day, the ranch was gone. Yep, they took it. It was a steal.
Was it?
6 Springs, a well already on it. I mean, it
And
was
in a good location too.
great location.
I mean, it's not too far inland.
Right.
So we're
And it was surrounded by national forest.
LA? North of LA?
Yeah, not very far
It's
either.
a Fraser National Forest.
Oh my God.
So,
So I got that
Perfect
5 acres
place.
with the well.
So it's because Lucky didn't
Pardon?
have the money.
That 5 acres with the well, they just start growing some next spring. It keeps out in the ground and come out. Probably should grow something on my own land. Can you grow food?
Yeah.
Where's that?
No, it's family property is. Well, I can grow in Hawaii too, on my ag zone. Nobody's ever grown on it. But in Yosemite, I have springs on my property.
Oh, Yosemite.
But I just don't have the time. I have to hire people.
No, you have to hire people. I've got people at my ranches taking care of everything. Of course, the labor's incredible. They are.
See, that's the
you know,
problem here.
I spend $150 a month to get these guys to work 8 hours a day, 6 days a week.
How much?
$150 a month.
Where's
Yeah,
this in Thailand?
$150 a month.
In Thailand?
Maybe
No,
we
in
should go to your property
Philippines.
and be there all
In
the time.
Thailand, I spend. Thailand, I'm spending about
I spend
$500
I
a
spend
month.
$400 a day to get this
Yeah.
guy to work for me.
See, that what you need is someone like to live there, like me.
Joseph, you're investing in the wrong country.
You need someone there that's all there all the time.
I do have people there.
Who? Not even all, but they're all Thai, right?
Yeah,
But do they give instructions to them on how
I
to
give
go?
the instruction.
Oh.
So you
So
got
are you eliminating
little
all
bit, not to get
Americans
by.
from your
Pardon?
farm?
Pardon?
Are you allowing any Americans on your farm?
Well, not right now, because I want the government to be happy.
Oh, is that what you're doing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Could take
They
a
would be
while.
upset if they had a white person.
Oh, if we had other white people in there.
Thai,
they'd-
you know anything
You have to understand.
about Thai people?
They're nice to your face.
They have a lifetime of being abused by the American people
Oh, absolutely. All countries have.
in all countries. I mean, do you have any
That
idea
means
how
you can't leave.
they've
Because you get
abused
killed.
their
So
women?
you can't go anywhere.
Yeah,
Well, they have abused. Well, they abuse their own kind.
Oh, they
yeah,
don't-
but
Those women, let me tell you, those women are very happy to be
yes,
prostitutes.
they are. Well,
They are so happy.
You know,
I mean,
I will-
4,000 baht is what the average income a month.
I will-
4,000 baht is only $130.
Aajonus, what is it
A
about?
month.
What is it about Thai women? They are so simple. What is it about? They really have this innateness of wanting to just satisfy the male tourist.
Well, it
They're so
depends.
happy. Generally speaking.
The girls of the new age are not that
They're
way.
not that
They're
way.
just like Americans and just as bad as
So what happened to us white?
Everything is, you know,
Money.
high maintenance.
Yeah.
High maintenance
I think when
everything.
you have a brain, it's hard to not sell yourself all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't consider that. They say working in a factory 12 hours
Yeah.
a day, hot and
compared to that.
sweaty.
I'd be a
Instead of
prostitute.
going laying
I
down
thought
with
that
some
was
guy
like
for
something
10 minutes, and most guys are finished in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's true.
and they're making $100
Yeah.
for that.
I thought
Now
about
$50
even
bucks.
this life here.
It's a good thing I got this all recorded,
It's
I
a
think.
good thing.
People professional. What's that?
I said it's a good thing I got this all recorded.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, you know,
Yeah, I had a
the
prostitute,
thing
yeah.
is though, the soul of that person still is not happy in what they're doing. You cannot be.
Don't believe that. They're so happy. You kidding?
Yeah. No.
They're not slaving.
That's true, but at
They're
the
not.
same
They're
time,
so freaking
when
happy.
you look at the next step, it just there's the same thing. It's self-abuse. But
No, it isn't. Not if they don't do what they don't want to do.
that's true.
I mean, just think if they're slaving in a
No,
you know.
that's true.
But at what point do they go, like, people stop going to them at 40? I mean, when you're a prostitute, or will you
No, they just take lower money and do it very late. But most of them save their money and get a house built
out
by
of
the
it.
time they're 30.
get out of it, yeah?
And then they're out of it by the time they're 32.
And they hook a white guy and come over there, or build a house, I've seen that. Or come over here and take his house and go back. I've seen that a few times too. They do.
Yeah,
and they
they
go
do.
on, see you David now, you stink. That's right. At first I never you, there's like, ooh, you old, you stink kind of me. I mean, it's kind of sad, you know, that they don't have any. But what do we got? We got like the government down our butts.
Well,
no jobs.
over the years, they've certainly learned to be business-like with their you know, their lifestyle and exchange, because they know they've only got so much time left, you know, to accumulate the money for financial stability.
The question I have is, are Thai girls really better at sex than white American women?
I've had good on both sides, and I've had bad on both sides. So
Yeah.
it's the woman, it's the
woman,
individual.
it's not just the
yeah.
culture. Oh,
It
that's
just comes.
interesting.
Yeah.
I would say the only difference that I really notice is that Asian women are much smaller, have much smaller vaginas. So if you've got a smaller penis, it's better. If you've got a large penis, it's not so good. And I made a few bleed, you know, so it's not good sometimes.
Is that just culturally their size? You mean they're just
Yeah,
they're
their
small
size.
heads and
They
stuff?
just have smaller vaginas.
They're not white. It's interesting.
Well, aren't they smaller to start with?
But I thought the Chinese did.
Smaller to start with.
Oh,
I mean,
that's what.
the women, aren't they smaller? They're
Yeah.
not tall.
Well, the women and the men
Well,
are
no,
small.
you've got, depends if you're
Well, that's why
looking
the
at
guy's smaller.
a lot of
Right.
tall Chinese, a lot of tall Koreans, a lot of small Thais. Of course, the tallest woman in the world is Thai.
Really?
She's 6'9",
Wow.
big woman.
But the
You know, so-
Thai population is mixing up a lot now. I remember in the 70s when I was traveling, the Thai women were just really beautiful. But now the mixture of the Thai and the
It's not the mixture.
Is the toxicity
More
coming in?
crack foods that they're getting now.
no, but
Cookies and
there's mixture in their races, right? With
No,
the
it's
chop-
even changing. I know purebreds that don't look like Thais anymore.
Oh, because I was shocked when I saw them in
The
the
toxicity
Yeah.
of food just reshaping
their
them.
skin. I remember their skin was really bad, and so it's just the food that like Western foods
Oh
coming
yeah, all the garbage that we get are being produced and given to them over there.
Here's an important question, Aajonus, is that when you get onto this diet, essentially what you normally are, according to what you'll say in height and stuff, you have to be so much. Like if you're 5'4", you have to be 135 pounds. Then you have to put on about 10 to 15 pounds more, right? So if you do that, and when you're eating the food that you recommend, to assist, you put on the extra 10, 15 pounds. Then when you're detoxing, whether it's with the cilantro juices or whatever formulas you give, you're supposed to, in that day, eat the butter, the cheese, the cream, the coconut cream. So the question is, when you're trying to get rid of your toxicity, you've got the extra 10, 15 pounds, and you're also eating in the day the extra fats to bind with the toxins that you're daily. Is that the formula?
Yeah.
You get fat, eat fat.
10, 15 pounds, I would say, is minimum.
Okay.
I like people to go 20, 25 pounds.
All right.
If they're over 5'4", they should be going 20 pounds overweight.
Okay.
25 pounds overweight. I go from, my bottom is about 160, probably 63 or 64 now, but I'll go all the way up to 192.
What's your
So I'll go 30 pounds.
Right.
What's your height?
5'7" and 3/4. I've been 5'7" 3/4 since I was 16 and a half years old.
I like how you put that 3/4.
All my family is shrunken and shrunken and shrunken. I've stayed right at
Okay,
5'7"
so the
and 3/4.
question is...
No, the last time, I'm sorry, I had it done in October, right, the week before I left, and I was actually 1/16 of an inch taller. So I'm just slightly above the 5'7" and 3/4.
How did you get the extra height?
I think that I just started growing.
Okay, so the thing is, if you do put on the extra 15, 20 pounds, or no, if you don't put that on, but you're eating the fats during the day, what happens that if you do detoxing, you don't have that...
You don't have a reserve, you're going to have a lot more symptoms, you're going to suffer more, and you're not going to get very well. You're not going to detoxify properly, and you're going to damage tissue in your body.
So that extra cushion of fat absorbs the toxicity?
Correct.
Okay. So is that why back then when I was detoxing and I didn't have the extra fat on, that it went into the bone marrow?
But it probably went into other cells, not just the bone marrow.
What other cells?
Any cell in your body where the poison was.
The toxicity went into the cells, like you're talking about like the liver maybe, the...
Depends on where it was coming out, what was the local cells.
What local cells?
If it came out of the liver, it may go right back into the liver. Other cells that had fat. But it would be looking for the fat inside the cell. So it would go into the cell and destroy the fat inside the cell. So then the cell is weaker or even dies or is maimed in some way. So that cell won't function as well. That's why it's very important to have excess fat.
So if in the bone marrow of the body, that's where the red and white blood cells are made and get their energy.
They divide in the bone marrow, they mature in the bone marrow, and then once they're mature, they enter the bloodstream.
So if they enter the bloodstream immature and not with enough oxygen, then you're going to be...
That's now
what?
The red blood cells take oxygen from the lungs and take them to the cells. Okay. But when a cell is bred in a toxic bone marrow, it's going to be affected.
Right.
It's not going to be as strong. It won't be able, let's say if it's a red blood cell, it won't be able to carry as much oxygen. It won't be able to move as agilely. It'll have a lot more toxic byproducts that it excretes.
Right.
Then the white blood cells are supposed to eat all of that. If they're toxic, they're going to get nauseous and they can't eat as much. So they won't be able to keep the blood as clean.
So down diet, should your body not hurt then after, say it hurt from toxicity portion, the weight was pulling enough of it out, so when you go down, you're not going to have the same symptoms?
Depends on how far down you go. I've seen people go beyond where they're supposed to go.
Oh, on the weight loss.
Let's say they've been 15 pounds overweight and they go below the 15 pounds, they're going to have some problems.
Now, when you say overweight, like you said, 5'4", 135, that's according to primal diet, kind of more than the chart you would find out there, right?
The chart you find out there is really low.
What would it say, 5'4", should be 120 or something like that?
Yeah, something like
So
that.
you're
123,
kind of a little bit
124.
over. But then you had this test for body fat. You were telling us how you had less body fat because it was compacted fat. So it...
No, less weight.
Less weight? In the body fat.
In the body fat.
You were saying you had your body fat last summer. You were saying you had your body fat tested.
I had low body fat.
Yeah, and you had low body fat.
Yeah, lower body fat.
So when you gained the weight, do you have the lower body fat, or is that just because you were thin at the time?
Because I was thin at the time.
So when you're heavier and you're on the down, how much body fat would you say you carry?
When I'm on the down?
Not when you're at your large 195.
Oh, I'm up around 21% fat.
And then your lowest you would go to?
I'm down to about 14, 15.
And what was this, so that kind of
The
the limit?
percentage.
Is that the, yeah, so is that the limit you think people should be at, or do you not care about that?
Oh, I care how low they go.
So what's the bottom?
I would say for the average person, it shouldn't go below 20.
And you were 14 now, you were healthy.
No, no, I'm better now, but when I was really sick, I always kept it between 25, 26, and 30.
And so now you're 20.
Yeah, now I'm around 20, 21.
So how can we tell if we go to a doctor for
There are those scales.
Yeah, you got the fat
You
scales.
put your height in and your height. That's all. You put your height in, and then when you get on it, it tells you within a percent.
Your percentage of your body fat?
Yeah. There's scales. I've seen it. Barbara Morgan had one. Cynthia had one.
I have
That'll
one.
tell you which body fat is there.
Yeah.
So is that one way to help decide when you should be
Where do you get those?
down diet?
Yeah.
Where do you get those scales?
Yeah,
I
almost
think any
anywhere.
of those places.
I got mine online.
Bed Bath and
So
Beyond.
stay at 20, not go to 15 or... Like when you first treated me, would you say I was 15% body fat? Maybe or something? That's what I think.
Yeah, you were probably, a lot of people, see, I can be slim and have a lot of body
I
fat
know,
because
you're
my
right.
molecules are small,
Right.
okay, condensed and small. When you cook a fat, it swells anywhere from 5 to 50 times its normal size. Like you take those pork rinds, they'll be really small, and then after you fry them, they're like this.
Right. So if you're thin and you have thick fat, that means you're really deficient. in
That's
fat.
right. Yep.
That you might
And a lot of these
carry.
athletes go around with 7% body fat, like your marathon runners, 7% body fat.
And that's not even that.
That's why they break down in their 30s.
They have the heart attack and they go, I was running, I want to run out of that.
And they have no cholesterol and all that shit.
I know that.
That's what I mean. The doctors are so full of crap.
What does cholesterol do for the body again?
Cholesterol is fat.
Fat.
It cleans it, protects it, does everything.
The cholesterol protects the body.
Protects the body, it cleans it, it gives it energy.
Okay.
Without cholesterol, we wouldn't be alive.
Yeah.
So don't go below 20% body fat.
So,
Well, for women, I say don't go below 23, 24.
Wow. Okay, and the doctor would tell you at 15.
14, 15.
What about a man?
They say men anywhere from 10 to 12%.
God.
I keep mine at least 20, 21. A couple
Well,
of
you
times
know.
I've gone down to 18 when I've come back from Asia without having enough butter and stuff. Now I make sure I have enough butter with me.
you take it with
I take
You let
30, 50 pounds with me.
You, really? Do you let you go to
you.
the
You
board
put it
with
in the. You,
customs?
they,
I take it through with me. I have a letter from my doctor.
Really? That you need to bring butter?
I made up a fake letter.
I tell them I've got to go to, he's going to Asia. He'd been diagnosed with cancer of the blood, bone, stomach, and lymph. He was diagnosed as diabetic. This was 40 and 50 years ago, see, but it doesn't say that he was diagnosed
Oh, you got
with.
the same letter.
No, what I'm saying is it just says that he was diagnosed with it, but it doesn't say when.
Well, if they look at you, then they shouldn't believe it.
I did that when I was.
Oh no, they do, because I will go through.
As if I was a
I'll go through limping and crippled.
Oh, I see.
I go through like this when I go through.
You
know, I'll go like this. I go through like that.
It works.
I do.
Won't they tell you what's wrong with Thai butter? Can you buy butter here in Thailand?
Yeah, but it's not as good.
No, but won't they tell you that and leave the
No, because they don't know.
They don't.
They don't know that you can get raw butter there.
No, but what do they know about raw butter? They just see butter, right?
No, it says on the letter raw butter.
What kind of cancer do you have? And I said,
But won't they tell you you can get raw butter here?
No, they don't know.
because
Because it says in the letter it's very difficult to find and get. And they don't provide it on the airplane, so I can take. I take 2 quarts of milk on with me.
That was good.
And you're only supposed to have 3 ounces.
That again, Archie.
I know,
That's such a good law.
I take 2 quarts. When I go to Asia, it says in my doctor's letter, I take up to 50 pounds of butter. I take up to 3 quarts of milk sometimes. And then I have my honey, which I'll take. Just enough.
So the liquid,
And I take my meat.
the liquid of milk, you can take that on
Not unless you have a doctor's letter.
And
No, if you have a doctor's letter, they will allow you to. And you walk that way. I've got to remember to walk
on
that
Americans, the airplanes, they don't stop you with these stuff.
Not with my letter.
your trunk hanging out.
You can bring all the milk and what about the guy sitting next to you? You just drink that in his face and
I
I don't give a shit what it is.
they don't freak out.
I've taken out high meat and eaten it right on the airplane.
Oh my god.
Yeah, stinky stuff.
Is it okay?
And there was a biologist that was writing a food contamination paper.
Oh, that's perfect.
And I was eating it right in front
perfect.
of the poor woman. Was she was like this on her.
She
was like this.
Get rid of the
Yeah,
bacteria.
I'm over there. She's way over here like this, trying to read and write, smelling that stuff over there.
Oh God.
So I wrote my own letter. Is that okay? I wrote like I was a different doctor. I just said I had cancer.
That's fine.
But they did this test.
Once in a while, they'll call my doctor.
Well, I had a number that would go to a Magic Jack phone that would not, so they couldn't. They'd have to leave a message. But